Hadīth 1. Narrated Ibn Abbas, regarding the verse, and, we, made you into Shu'ub and Qabail, Surah 49, Ayah 13, that Shu'ub means the big Qabail, that is, nations, while the Qabail, that is, tribes, means the branch tribes. Hadīth 2. Narrated Abu Hurairah, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was asked, who is the most honorable amongst the people? He said, the most righteous, that is, Allah-fearing, amongst you. They said, we do not ask you about this. He said, then Joseph, the Prophet of Allah. Hadīth 3. Narrated Kulayb bin Wa'il, I asked Zainab bint Abi Salama, that is, daughter of the wife of the Prophet, tell me about the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. Did he belong to the tribe of Mudar? She replied, yes, he belonged to the tribe of Mudar and was from the offspring of An-Nadr bin Kinana. Hadīth 4. Narrated Kulayb, I was told by the Rabibah, that is, daughter of the wife of the Prophet, who I think was Zainab, that the Prophet forbade the utensils, of wine called, ad-dubba, ul-huntam, ul-mukayyar and ul-muzaffat. I said to her, tell me as to which tribe the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, belonged, was he from the tribe of Mudar? She replied, he belonged to the tribe of Mudar and was from the offspring of An-Nadr bin Kinana. Hadīth 5. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, you see that the people are of different natures. Those who were the best in the pre-Islamic period, are also the best in Islam if they comprehend religious knowledge. You see that the best amongst the people in this respect, that is, ambition of ruling, are those who hate it most. And you see that the worst among people is the double-faced person, who appears to these with one face and to the others with another face, that is, a hypocrite. Hadīth 6. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the tribe of Quraish has precedence over the people in this connection, that is, the right of ruling. The Muslims follow the Muslims amongst them, and the infidels follow the infidels amongst them. People are of different natures, the best amongst them in the pre-Islamic period are the best in Islam, provided they comprehend the religious knowledge. You will find that the best amongst the people in this respect, that is, of ruling, is he who hates it, that is, the idea of ruling, most, till he is given the pledge of allegiance. Hadīth 7. Narrated Tawus, Ibn Abbas recited the Quranic verse, except to be kind to me for my kinship to you, Surah 42, Ayah 23. Sa'id bin Jubayr said, the verse implies, the kinship of Muhammad. Ibn Abbas said, there was not a single house, that is, subtribe, of Quraish but had a kinship to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and so the above verse was revealed in this connection, and its interpretation is, O Quraish, you should keep good relation between me, that is, Muhammad, and you. Hadīth 8. Narrated Abi Masud, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, from this side from the east, afflictions will appear. Rudeness and lack of mercy are characteristics of the rural Bedouins who are busy with their camels and cows, and pay no attention to religion. Such are the tribes of Rabi'ah and Mudar. Hadīth 9. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, pride and arrogance are characteristics of the rural Bedouins while calmness is found among the owners of sheep. Belief is Yemenite and wisdom is also Yemenite, that is, the Yemenites are well known for their true belief and wisdom. Abu Abdullāh, al-Bukhari, said, Yemen was called so because it is situated to the right of the Kaaba, and Sham was called so because it is situated to the left of the Kaaba. Hadīth 10. Narrated Muhammad bin Jubayr bin Mut'im, that while he was with a delegation from Quraish to Muawiyah, the latter heard the news that Abdullāh bin Amr bin al-As said that there would be a king from the tribe of Qahtan. On that, Muawiyah became angry, got up and then praised Allah as he deserved, and said, Now then, I have heard that some men amongst you narrate things which are neither in the Holy Book, nor have been told by Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Those men are the ignorant amongst you. Beware of such hopes as make the people go astray, for I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, authority of ruling will remain with Quraish, and whoever bears hostility to them, Allah will destroy him as long as they abide by the laws of the religion. Hadith 11. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, authority of ruling will remain with Quraish, even if only 2 of them remained. Hadith 12. Narrated Jubair bin Mut'im, Uthman bin Affan went to the Prophet, and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. You gave property to Bani al-Muttalib and did not give us, although we and they are of the same degree of relationship to you. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, only Bani Hashim and Bani al-Muttalib are one thing, as regards family status. Hadith 13. Narrated Urwah bin Az-Zubayr, Abdullāh bin Az-Zubayr went with some women of the tribe of Bani Zuhra to Aisha, who used to treat them nicely because of their relation to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Hadith 14. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the tribe of Quraish, the Ansar, the people of the tribe of Juhaina, Muzaina, Aslam, Ashja, and Ghifar are my disciples and have no protectors except Allah and His Apostle. Hadith 15. Narrated Urwah bin Az-Zubayr, Abdullāh bin Az-Zubayr was the most beloved person to Aisha excluding the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and Abu Bakr, and he in his turn, was the most devoted to her. Aisha used not to withhold the money given to her by Allah, but she used to spend it in charity. Abdullāh bin Az-Zubayr said, Aisha should be stopped from doing so. When Aisha heard this, she said protestingly, shall I be stopped from doing so? I vow that I will never talk to Abdullāh bin Az-Zubayr. On that, Ibn Az-Zubayr asked some people from Quraish and particularly the 2 uncles of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to intercede with her, but she refused to talk to him. Az-Zuhriyun, the uncles of the Prophet, including Abdur Rahman bin al-Aswad bin Abd Yagut and al-Miswar bin Makramah said to him, when we ask for the permission to visit her, enter her house along with us, without taking her leave. He did accordingly, and she accepted their intercession. He sent her 10 slaves whom she manumitted as an expiation for not keeping her vow. Aisha manumitted more slaves for the same purpose till she manumitted 40 slaves. She said, I wish I had specified what I would have done in case of not fulfilling my vow when I made the vow, so that I might have done it easily. Hadith 16. Narrated Anas, Uthman called Zayd bin Thabit, Abdullāh bin Az-Zubayr, Sa'id bin al-As and Abdur Rahman bin al-Harith bin Hisham, and then they wrote the manuscripts of the Holy Quran in the form of book in several copies. Uthman said to the 3 Quraishi persons, if you differ with Zayd bin Thabit on any point of the Quran, then write it in the language of Quraish, as the Quran was revealed in their language. So they acted accordingly. Zayd bin Thabit was an Ansari and not from Quraish. Hadith 17. Narrated Salama, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, passed by some people from the tribe of Aslam practicing archery. He said, O children of Ishmael, throw arrows, for your father was an archer. I am on the side of Bani so-and-so, meaning one of the 2 teams. The other team stopped throwing, whereupon the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, what has happened to them? They replied, how shall we throw while you are with Bani so-and-so? He said, throw, for I am with all of you. Hadith 18. Narrated Abu Dhar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, if somebody claims to be the son of any other than his real father knowingly, he but disbelieves in Allah, and if somebody claims to belong to some folk to whom he does not belong, let such a person take his place in the hell fire. Hadith 19. Narrated Wathilah bin al-Asqa, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Verily, one of the worst lies is to claim falsely to be the son of someone other than one's real father, or to claim to have had a dream one has not had, or to attribute to me what I have not said. Hadith 20. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the delegates of Abdul Qais came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. We are from the tribe of Rabi'ah, and the infidels of Mudar tribe stand between us and you, so that we cannot come to you except in the sacred months. Therefore we would like you to give us some instructions which we may follow and convey to our people staying behind us. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I order you to observe 4 things and forbid you to do 4 things. I order you to believe in Allah, testifying that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, to offer the prayer perfectly, to pay the zakat, and to give 1/5 of the war booty to Allah. And I forbid you to use ad-dubba, al-huntam, an-nakir and al-muzaffat. These are names of utensils in which alcoholic drinks were served. Hadith 21. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, on the pulpit saying, Verily, afflictions will start from here, pointing towards the east, whence the side of the head of Satan comes out. Hadith 22. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The tribes of Quraish, Al-Ansar, Juhaina, Muzaina, Aslam, Ghifar and Ashja are my helpers, and they have no protector, that is, master, except Allah and His Apostle. Hadith 23. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, while Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was on the pulpit, he said, May Allah forgive the tribe of Ghifar. And may Allah save the tribe of Aslam. The tribe of Usayya have disobeyed Allah and His Apostle. Hadith 24. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, May Allah save the tribe of Aslam, and may Allah forgive the tribe of Ghifar. Hadith 25. Narrated Abu Bakr, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Do you think that the tribes of Juhaina, Muzaina, Aslam and Ghifar are better than the tribes of Bani Tamim, Bani Asad, Bani Abdullāh bin Ghatafan and Bani Amr bin Sa'sa? A man said, They were unsuccessful and losers. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, added, Yes, they are better than the tribes of Bani Tamim, Bani Asad, Bani Abdullāh bin Ghatafan and Bani Amr bin Sa'sa. Hadith 26. Narrated Abu Bakr, Al-Aqra bin Habis said to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Nobody gave you the pledge of allegiance but the robbers of the pilgrims, that is, those who used to rob the pilgrims, from the tribes of Aslam, Ghifar, Muzaina. Ibn Abi Yaqub is in doubt whether Al-Aqra added, and Juhaina. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Don't you think that the tribes of Aslam, Ghifar, Muzaina, and also perhaps, Juhaina are better than the tribes of Bani Tamim, Bani Amr, Asad, and Ghatafan? Somebody said, They were unsuccessful and losers. The Prophet said, Yes, by him in whose hands my life is, they, that is, the former, are better than they, that is, the latter. Hadith 27. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The hour will not be established unless a man from the tribe of Qahtan appears, driving the people with his stick, ruling them with violence and oppression. Hadith 28. Narrated Jabir, we were in the company of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in a ghazwa. A large number of emigrants joined him, and among the emigrants there was a person who used to play jokes, or play with spears, so he, jokingly, stroked an Ansari man on the hip. The Ansari got so angry that both of them called their people. The Ansari said, Help, O Ansar. And the emigrant said, Help, O emigrants. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came out and said, What is wrong with the people, as they are calling this call of the period of ignorance. Then he said, what is the matter with them? So he was told about the stroke of the emigrant to the Ansari. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, stop this, that is, appeal for help, for it is an evil call. Abdullāh bin Ubay bin Salul, a hypocrite, said, the emigrants have called and gathered against us, so when we return to Medina, surely, the more honorable people will expel there from the meaner. Upon that, Umar said, O Allah's Prophet, shall we not kill this evil person, that is, Abdullāh bin Ubay bin Salul? The Prophet said, no, lest the people should say that Muhammad used to kill his companions. Hadīth 29. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whoever slaps his face or tears the bosom of his dress, or calls the calls of the period of ignorance is not from us. Hadīth 30. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Amr bin Luhay bin Kama bin Kindif was the father of Khuza'a. Hadīth 31. Narrated Sa'id bin al-Musayyab, al-Bahira was an animal whose milk was spared for the idols and other deities, and so nobody was allowed to milk it. As-Sa'ibah was an animal which they, that is, infidels, used to set free in the names of their gods so that it would not be used for carrying anything. Abu Hurairah said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I saw Amr bin Luhay al-Khuza'i dragging his intestines in the hell fire, for he was the first man who started the custom of releasing animals, for the sake of false gods. Hadīth 32. Narrated Abu Jamrah, Ibn Abbas said to us, shall I tell you the story of Abu Dhar's conversion to Islam? We said, yes. He said, Abu Dhar said, I was a man from the tribe of Ghifar. We heard that a man had appeared in Makkah, claiming to be a prophet. I said to my brother, go to that man and talk to him and bring me his news. He set out, met him and returned. I asked him, what is the news with you? He said, by Allah, I saw a man enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil. I said to him, you have not satisfied me with this little information. So, I took a water skin and a stick and proceeded towards Makkah. Neither did I know him, that is, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, nor did I like to ask anyone about him. I kept on drinking Zamzam water and staying in the mosque. Then Ali passed by me and said, it seems you are a stranger. I said, yes. He proceeded to his house and I accompanied him. Neither did he ask me anything, nor did I tell him anything. Next morning, I went to the mosque to ask about the Prophet but no one told me anything about him. Ali passed by me again and asked, hasn't the man recognized his dwelling place yet? I said, no. He said, come along with me. He asked me, what is your business? What has brought you to this town? I said to him, if you keep my secret, I will tell you. He said, I will do. I said to him, we have heard that a person has appeared here, claiming to be a prophet. I sent my brother to speak to him and when he returned, he did not bring a satisfactory report, so I thought of meeting him personally. Ali said, to Abu Dhar, you have reached your goal, I am going to him just now, so follow me, and wherever I enter, enter after me. If I should see someone who may cause you trouble, I will stand near a wall pretending to mend my shoes, as a warning, and you should go away then. Ali proceeded and I accompanied him till he entered a place, and I entered with him to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to whom I said, present the principles of Islam to me. When he did, I embraced Islam immediately. He said to me, O Abu Dhar, keep your conversion as a secret and return to your town, and when you hear of our victory, return to us. I said, by him who has sent you with the truth, I will announce my conversion to Islam publicly amongst them, that is, the infidels. Abu Dhar went to the mosque, where some people from Quraish were present, and said, O folk of Quraish, I testify that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah, and I, also, testify that Muhammad is Allah's slave and his apostle." Hearing that, the Quraishi men said, "Get at this Sabi, that is, Muslim." They got up and beat me nearly to death. Al-Abbas saw me and threw himself over me to protect me. He then faced them and said, "Woe to you! You want to kill a man from the tribe of Ghifar, although your trade and your communications are through the territory of Ghifar?" They therefore left me. The next morning I returned to the mosque, and said the same as I had said on the previous day. They again said, "Get at this Sabi." I was treated in the same way as on the previous day, and again Al-Abbas found me and threw himself over me to protect me and told them the same as he had said the day before. So, that was the conversion of Abu Dhar, may Allah be merciful to him, to Islam. Hadith 33. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The people of Aslam, Ghifar and some people of Muzaina and Juhaina, or said, some people of Juhaina or Muzaina, are better with Allah, or said, on the day of resurrection, than the tribe of Asad, Tamim, Hawazin and Ghatafan." Hadith 34. Narrated Ibn Abbas, if you wish to know about the ignorance of the Arabs, refer to Surah Al-An'am after verse number 130. Indeed lost are those who have killed their children from folly without knowledge and have forbidden that which Allah has provided for them, inventing a lie against Allah. They have indeed gone astray and were not guided. Surah 6, Ayah 140. Hadith 35. Narrated Ibn Abbas, when the verse, "And warn your tribe of near kindred," Surah 26, Ayah 214, was revealed, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, started calling the Arab tribes, O Bani Fihr, O Bani Adi, mentioning first the various branch tribes of Quraish. Hadith 36. Narrated Ibn Abbas, when the verse, "And warn your tribe of near kindred," Surah 26, Ayah 214, was revealed, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, started calling every tribe by its name. Hadith 37. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O Bani Abd Manaf, buy yourselves from Allah. O Bani Abdul Muttalib, buy yourselves from Allah. O mother of Az-Zubayr bin al-Awwam, the aunt of Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and O Fatima bint Muhammad, buy yourselves from Allah, for I cannot defend you before Allah. You, both, can ask me for my property as much as you like. Hadith 38. Narrated Anas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sent for the Ansar, and when they came, he asked, Is there any stranger amongst you? They said, No, except the son of our sister. Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, The son of the sister of some people belongs to them. Hadith 39. Narrated Aisha, that during the Mina days, Abu Bakr came to her, while there were two girls with her, beating drums, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was lying, covering himself with his garment. Abu Bakr rebuked the two girls, but the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, uncovered his face and said, O Abu Bakr, leave them, for these are the days of Eid, festival. Those days were the days of Mina. Aisha added, I was being screened by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, while I was watching the Ethiopians playing in the mosque. Umar rebuked them, but the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Leave them, O Bani Arfidah. Play, for you are safe. Hadith 40. Narrated Aisha, once Hassan bin Thabit asked the permission of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to lampoon, that is, compose satirical poetry defaming the infidels. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, What about the fact that I have common descent with them? Hassan replied, I shall take you out of them as a hare is taken out of dough. Narrated Urwa, I started abusing Hassan in front of Aisha, whereupon she said, Don't abuse him, for he used to defend the Prophet, with his poetry. Hadith 41. Narrated Jubair bin Mut'im, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I have 5 names, I am Muhammad and Ahmad, I am Al-Mahi through whom Allah will eliminate infidelity, I am Al-Hashir who will be the first to be resurrected, the people being resurrected thereafter, and I am also Al-Aqib, that is, there will be no prophet after me. Hadith 42. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, doesn't it astonish you how Allah protects me from the Quraish's abusing and cursing? They abuse Mudammam and curse Mudammam while I am Muhammad, and not Mudammam. Hadith 43. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, my similitude in comparison with the other prophets is that of a man who has built a house completely and excellently except for a place of 1 brick. When the people enter the house, they admire its beauty and say, but for the place of this brick, how splendid the house will be. Hadith 44. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, my similitude in comparison with the other prophets before me, is that of a man who has built a house nicely and beautifully, except for a place of 1 brick in a corner. The people go about it and wonder at its beauty, but say, would that this brick be put in its place. So I am that brick, and I am the last of the prophets. Hadith 45. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, died when he was 63 years old. Hadith 46. Narrated Anas, while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was in the market, a man called, somebody, O Abul Qasim. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, turned to him and said, name yourselves after me, but do not call yourselves by my kunya. Hadith 47. Narrated Jabir, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, name yourselves after me, but do not call yourselves by my kunya. Hadith 48. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Abul Qasim said, name yourselves after me, but do not call yourselves by my kunya. Hadith 49. Narrated Al-Juwayd bin Abdurrahman, I saw As'ad bin Yazid when he was 94 years old, quite strong and of straight figure. He said, I know that I enjoyed my hearing and seeing powers only because of the invocation of Allah's Apostle. My aunt took me to him and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. My nephew is sick, will you invoke Allah for him? So he invoked, Allah, for me. Hadith 50. Narrated Sa'ib bin Yazid, my aunt took me to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. My nephew is sick. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, passed his hands over my head and blessed me. Then he performed ablution and I drank the remaining water, and standing behind him, I saw the seal in between his shoulders. Hadith 51. Narrated Uqbah bin al-Harith, once, Abu Bakr offered the Asr prayer and then went out walking and saw Al-Hasan playing with the boys. He lifted him onto his shoulders and said, let my parents be sacrificed for your sake. You resemble the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and not Ali, while Ali was smiling. Hadith 52. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, I saw the Prophet, and Al-Hasan resembled him. Hadith 53. Narrated Isma'il bin Abi Khalid, I heard Abu Juhayfa saying, I saw the Prophet, and Al-Hasan bin Ali resembled him. I said to Abu Juhayfa, describe him for me. He said, he was white and his beard was black with some white hair. He promised to give us 13 young she-camels, but he expired before we could get them. Hadith 54. Narrated Wahab Abu Juhayfa as-Suwai, I saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and saw some white hair below his lower lip above the chin. Hadith 55. Narrated Hariz bin Uthman, that he asked Abdullāh bin Busr, that is, the companion of the Prophet, did you see the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, when he was old? He said, he had a few white hairs between the lower lip and the chin. Hadith 56. Narrated Rabi'ah bin Abi Abdurrahman, I heard Anas bin Malik describing the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, he was of medium height amongst the people, neither tall nor short, he had a rosy color, neither absolutely white nor deep brown, his hair was neither completely curly nor quite lank. Divine inspiration was revealed to him when he was 40 years old. He stayed 10 years in Mecca receiving the divine inspiration, and stayed in Medina for 10 more years. When he expired, he had scarcely 20 white hairs in his head and beard. Rabi'ah said, I saw some of his hairs and it was red. When I asked about that, I was told that it turned red because of scent. Hadith 57. Narrated Anas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was neither very tall nor short, neither absolutely white nor deep brown. His hair was neither curly nor lank. Allah sent him, as an apostle, when he was 40 years old. Afterwards he resided in Mecca for 10 years and in Medina for 10 more years. When Allah took him unto him, there were scarcely 20 white hairs in his head and beard. Hadith 58. Narrated Al-Bara, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was the handsomest of all the people, and had the best appearance. He was neither very tall nor short. Hadith 59. Narrated Qatada, I asked Anas, did the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to dye his hair? He said, no, for there were only a few white hairs on his temples. Hadith 60. Narrated Al-Bara, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was of moderate height having broad shoulders, long hair reaching his earlobes. Once I saw him in a red cloak, and I had never seen a more handsome man than him. Hadith 61. Narrated Abu Ishaq, Al-Bara was asked, was the face of the Prophet as bright as a sword? He said, no, but as bright as a moon. Hadith 62. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, once Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went to Al-Batha at noon, performed the ablution and offered a 2-rakat Zuhr prayer and a 2-rakat Asr prayer while a spear-headed stick was planted before him and the passers-by were passing in front of it. After the prayer, the people got up and held the hands of the Prophet and passed them on their faces. I also took his hand and kept it on my face and noticed that it was colder than ice, and its smell was nicer than musk. Hadith 63. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was the most generous of all the people, and he used to become more generous in Ramadan when Gabriel met him. Gabriel used to meet him every night during Ramadan to revise the Quran with him. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, then used to be more generous than the fast wind. Hadith 64. Narrated Aisha, that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, came to her in a happy mood with his features glittering with joy, and said, have you not heard what Al-Mudliji has said about Zayd and Usama? He saw their feet and remarked, these belong to each other. That is, they are father and son. Hadith 65. Narrated Abdullāh bin Ka'b, I heard Ka'b bin Malik talking after his failure to join the Ghazwa of Tabuk. He said, when I greeted Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, whose face was glittering with happiness, for whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was happy, his face used to glitter, as if it was a piece of the moon, and we used to recognize it, that is, his happiness, from his face. Hadith 66. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, I have been sent, as an apostle, in the best of all the generations of Adam's offspring since their creation. Hadith 67. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used to let his hair hang down while the infidels used to part their hair. The people of the scriptures were used to letting their hair hang down, and Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, liked to follow the people of the scriptures in the matters about which he was not instructed otherwise. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, parted his hair. Hadith 68. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, never used bad language, neither a fahish nor a mutafahish. He used to say, the best amongst you are those who have the best manners and character. Hadith 69. Narrated Aisha, whenever Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was given the choice of one of two matters, he would choose the easier of the two, as long as it was not sinful to do so, but if it was sinful to do so, he would not approach it. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, never took revenge over anybody, for his own sake, but he did, only when Allah's legal bindings were outraged, in which case he would take revenge for Allah's sake. Hadith 70. Narrated Anas, I have never touched silk or dibaj, that is, thick silk, softer than the palm of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, nor have I smelt a perfume nicer than the sweat of the Prophet. Hadith 71. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was shyer than a veiled virgin girl. Hadith 72. Narrated Shu'bah, a similar hadith with this addition, and if he, that is, the Prophet, disliked something, the sign of aversion would appear on his face. Hadith 73. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, never criticized any food presented to him, but he would eat it if he liked it, otherwise, he would leave it, without expressing his dislike. Hadith 74. Narrated Abdullāh bin Malik bin Buhaina al-Asti, when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, prostrated, he used to keep his arms so widely apart that we used to see his armpits. The sub-narrator, Ibn Bukayr said, the whiteness of his armpits. Hadith 75. Narrated Anas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, did not use to raise his hands in his invocations except in the istisqa, that is, invoking Allah for the rain, in which he used to raise his hands so high that one could see the whiteness of his armpits. Note, it may be that Anas did not see the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, raising his hands, but it has been narrated that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to raise his hands for invocations other than istisqa. Hadith 76. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, by chance, I went to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, at noon while he was at Al-Ubtah, resting, in a tent. Bilal came out of the tent, and pronounced the adhan for the prayer, and entering again, he brought out the water which was left after Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, had performed the ablution. The people rushed to take some of the water. Bilal again went in and brought out a spear-headed stick, and then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, came out. As if I were now looking at the whiteness of his leg. Bilal fixed the stick and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, offered a 2-rakat Zuhr prayer and a 2-rakat Asr prayer, while women and donkeys were passing in front of the Prophet, beyond the stick. Hadith 77. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to talk so clearly that if somebody wanted to count the number of his words, he could do so. Narrated Urwah bin Az-Zubayr, Aisha said, to me, don't you wonder at Abu So-and-so who came and sat by my dwelling and started relating the traditions of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, intending to let me hear that, while I was performing an optional prayer? He left before I finished my optional prayer. Had I found him still there I would have said to him, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, never talked so quickly and vaguely as you do. Hadith 78. Narrated Abu Salamah bin Abdurrahman, that he asked Aisha, how was the prayer of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in the month of Ramadan? She replied, he used not to pray more than 11 rakat whether in Ramadan or in any other month. He used to offer 4 rakat, let alone their beauty and length, and then 4 rakat, let alone their beauty and length. Afterwards he would offer 3 rakat. I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, do you go to bed before offering the witr prayer? He said, my eyes sleep, but my heart does not sleep. Hadīth 79. Narrated Sharik bin Abdullāh bin Abi Namir, I heard Anas bin Malik telling us about the night when the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was made to travel from the Kaaba mosque. 3 persons, that is, angels, came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, before he was divinely inspired, was an apostle, while he was sleeping in al-Masjid al-Haram. The first, of the 3 angels, said, which of them is he? The second said, he is the best of them. That was all that happened then, and he did not see them till they came at another night, and he perceived their presence with his heart, for the eyes of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, were closed when he was asleep, but his heart was not asleep, not unconscious. This is characteristic of all the prophets, their eyes sleep but their hearts do not sleep. Then Gabriel took charge of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and ascended along with him to the heaven. Hadīth 80. Narrated Imran bin Husayn, that they were with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on a journey. They traveled the whole night, and when dawn approached, they took a rest and sleep overwhelmed them till the sun rose high in the sky. The first to get up was Abu Bakr. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, used not to be awakened from his sleep, but he would wake up by himself. Umar woke up and then Abu Bakr sat by the side of the Prophet's head and started saying, Allahu Akbar, raising his voice till the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, woke up, and after traveling for a while, he dismounted and led us in the morning prayer. A man amongst the people failed to join us in the prayer. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had finished the prayer, he asked the man, O so-and-so, what prevented you from offering the prayer with us? He replied, I am Junub. Allah's apostle ordered him to perform tayammum with clean earth. The man then offered the prayer. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered me and a few others to go ahead of him. We had become very thirsty. While we were on our way, looking for water, we came across a lady, riding an animal, hanging her legs between 2 water skins. We asked her, where can we get water? She replied, oh, there is no water. We asked, how far is your house from the water? She replied, a distance of a day and a night travel. We said, come on to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. She asked, what is Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him? So we brought her to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, against her will, and she told him what she had told us before and added that she was the mother of orphans. So, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered that her 2 water skins be brought and he rubbed the mouths of the water skins. As we were thirsty, we drank till we quenched our thirst and we were 40 men. We also filled all our water skins and other utensils with water, but we did not water the camels. The water skin was so full that it was almost about to burst. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then said, bring what foodstuff you have. So some dates and pieces of bread were collected for the lady, and when she went to her people, she said, I have met either the greatest magician or a prophet as the people claim. So Allah guided the people of that village through that lady. She embraced Islam and they all embraced Islam. Hadīth 81. Narrated on us, a bowl of water was brought to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, while he was at Az-Zawra. He placed his hand in it and the water started flowing among his fingers. All the people performed ablution with that water. Qatada asked Anas, how many people were you? Anas replied, 300 or nearly 300. Hadīth 82. Narrated Anas bin Malik, I saw Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, at the time when the Asr prayer was due. Then the people were searching for water for ablution but they could not find any. Then some water was brought to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and he placed his hand in the pot and ordered the people to perform the ablution with the water. I saw water flowing from underneath his fingers and the people started performing the ablution till all of them did it. Hadith 83. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went out on one of his journeys with some of his companions. They went on walking till the time of the prayer became due. They could not find water to perform the ablution. One of them went away and brought a little amount of water in a pot. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, took it and performed the ablution, and then stretched his 4 fingers onto the pot and said, to the people, get up to perform the ablution. They started performing the ablution till all of them did it, and they were 70 or so persons. Hadith 84. Narrated Humayd, Anas bin Malik said, once the time of the prayer became due and the people whose houses were close to the mosque went to their houses to perform ablution, while the others remained, sitting there. A stone pot containing water was brought to the Prophet, who wanted to put his hand in it, but it was too small for him to spread his hand in it, and so he had to bring his fingers together before putting his hand in the pot. Then all the people performed the ablution with that water. I asked Anas, how many persons were they? He replied, there were 80 men. Hadith 85. Narrated Salim bin Abi Ujjad, Jabir bin Abdullāh said, the people became very thirsty on the day of Al-Hudaybiyah treaty. A small pot containing some water was in front of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and when he had finished the ablution, the people rushed towards him. He asked, what is wrong with you? They replied, we have no water either for performing ablution or for drinking, except what is present in front of you. So he placed his hand in that pot and the water started flowing among his fingers like springs. We all drank and performed ablution from it. I asked Jabir, how many were you? He replied, even if we had been 100,000, it would have been sufficient for us, but we were 1,500. Hadith 86. Narrated Al-Bara, we were 1,400 persons on the day of Al-Hudaybiyah treaty, and, at Al-Hudaybiyah, there was a well. We drew out its water not leaving even a single drop. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, sat at the edge of the well and asked for some water with which he rinsed his mouth and then he threw it out into the well. We stayed for a short while and then drew water from the well and quenched our thirst, and even our riding animals drank water to their satisfaction. Hadith 87. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Abu Talha said to Sulaym, I have noticed feebleness in the voice of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, which I think is caused by hunger. Have you got any food? She said, yes. She brought out some loaves of barley and took out a veil belonging to her, and wrapped the bread in part of it and put it under my arm and wrapped part of the veil round me and sent me to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I went carrying it and found Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in the mosque sitting with some people. When I stood there, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, has Abu Talha sent you? I said, yes. He asked, with some food? I said, yes. Allah's Apostle then said to the men around him, get up. He set out, accompanied by them, and I went ahead of them till I reached Abu Talha and told him of the Prophet's visit. Abu Talha said, O Sulaym, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, is coming with the people and we have no food to feed them. She said, Allah and his Apostle know better. So Abu Talha went out to receive Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allah's Apostle came along with Abu Talha. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O Sulaym, bring whatever you have. She brought the bread which Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, ordered to be broken into pieces. Sulaym poured on them some butter from an oilskin. Then Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, recited what Allah wished him to recite, and then said, let 10 persons come, to share the meal. 10 persons were admitted, ate their fill and went out. Then he again said, let another 10 do the same. They were admitted, ate their fill and went out. Then he again said, let another 10 persons do the same. They were admitted, ate their fill and went out. Then he said, let another 10 persons come. In short, all of them ate their fill, and they were 70 or 80 men. Hadith 88. Narrated Abdullāh, we used to consider miracles as Allah's blessings, but you people consider them to be a warning. Once we were with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, on a journey, and we ran short of water. He said, bring the water remaining with you. The people brought a utensil containing a little water. He placed his hand in it and said, come to the blessed water, and the blessing is from Allah. I saw the water flowing from among the fingers of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and no doubt, we heard the meal glorifying Allah, when it was being eaten, by him. Hadith 89. Narrated Jabir, my father had died in debt. So I came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and said, my father died, leaving unpaid debts, and I have nothing except the yield of his date palms, and their yield for many years will not cover his debts. So please come with me, so that the creditors may not misbehave with me. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went round one of the heaps of dates and invoked Allah, and then did the same with another heap and sat on it and said, measure for them. He paid them their rights, and what remained was as much as had been paid to them. Hadith 90. Narrated Abdur Rahman bin Abi Bakr, the companions of Sufa were poor people. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, once said, whoever has food enough for 2 persons, should take a third one, from among them, and whoever has food enough for 4 persons, should take a 5th or a 6th, or said something similar. Abu Bakr brought 3 persons while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, took 10. And Abu Bakr with his 3 family members, who were I, my father and my mother, the sub-narrator is in doubt whether Abdur Rahman said, my wife and my servant who was common for both my house and Abu Bakr's house. Abu Bakr took his supper with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and stayed there till he offered the Isha prayers. He returned and stayed till Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, took his supper. After a part of the night had passed, he returned to his house. His wife said to him, what has detained you from your guests? He said, have you served supper to them? She said, they refused to take supper until you come. They, that is, some members of the household, presented the meal to them but they refused to eat. I went to hide myself and he said, O Ghifar. He invoked Allah to cause my ears to be cut and he rebuked me. He then said to them, please eat, and added, I will never eat the meal. By Allah, whenever we took a handful of the meal grew from underneath more than that handful till everybody ate to his satisfaction, yet the remaining food was more than the original meal. Abu Bakr saw that the food was as much or more than the original amount. He called his wife, O sister of Bani Firas. She said, O pleasure of my eyes. The food has been tripled in quantity. Abu Bakr then started eating thereof and said, it, that is, my oath not to eat, was because of Satan. He took a handful from it, and carried the rest to the Prophet. So that food was with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. There was a treaty between us and some people, and when the period of that treaty had elapsed, he divided us into 12 groups, each being headed by a man. Allah knows how many men were under the command of each leader. Anyhow, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, surely sent a leader with each group. Then all of them ate of that meal. Hadith 91. Narrated on us, once during the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, the people of Medina suffered from drought. So while the Prophet was delivering a sermon on a Friday, a man got up saying, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. The horses and sheep have perished. Will you invoke Allah to bless us with rain? The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, lifted both his hands and invoked. The sky at that time was as clear as glass. Suddenly a wind blew, raising clouds that gathered together, and it started raining heavily. We came out of the mosque, wading through the flowing water till we reached our homes. It went on raining till the next Friday, when the same man or some other man stood up and said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. The houses have collapsed, please invoke Allah to withhold the rain." On that, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, smiled and said, "O Allah, let it rain, around us and not on us." I then looked at the clouds to see them separating, forming a sort of a crown round Medina. Hadith 92. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to deliver his sermons while standing beside a trunk of a date palm. When he had the pulpit made, he used it instead. The trunk started crying and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, went to it, rubbing his hand over it, to stop its crying. Hadith 93. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullāh, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, used to stand by a tree or a date palm on Friday. Then an Ansari woman or man said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Shall we make a pulpit for you?" He replied, "If you wish." So they made a pulpit for him, and when it was Friday, he proceeded towards the pulpit, for delivering the sermon. The date palm cried like a child. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, descended the pulpit, and embraced it while it continued moaning like a child being quietened. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, it was crying for, missing, what it used to hear of religious knowledge given near to it. Hadith 94. Narrated Anas bin Malik, that he heard Jabir bin Abdullah saying, the roof of the mosque was built over trunks of date palms working as pillars. When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, delivered a sermon, he used to stand by one of those trunks till the pulpit was made for him, and he used it instead. Then we heard the trunk sending a sound like that of a pregnant she-camel, till the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came to it, and put his hand over it, then it became quiet. Hadith 95. Narrated Hudayfa, once Umar bin al-Khattab said, who amongst you remembers the statement of Allah's Apostle regarding the afflictions? Hudayfa replied, I remember what he said exactly. Umar said, tell us, you are really a daring man. Hudayfa said, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, a man's afflictions, that is, wrong deeds, concerning his relation to his family, his property and his neighbors are expiated by his prayers, giving in charity and enjoining what is good and forbidding what is evil. Umar said, I don't mean these afflictions, but the afflictions that will be heaving up and down like waves of the sea. Hudayfa replied, O chief of the believers, you need not fear those afflictions, as there is a closed door between you and them. Umar asked, will that door be opened or broken? Hudayfa replied, no, it will be broken. Umar said, then it is very likely that the door will not be closed again. Later on the people asked Hudayfa, did Umar know what that door meant? He said, yes, Umar knew it as everyone knows that there will be night before the tomorrow morning. I narrated to Umar an authentic narration, not lies. We dared not ask Hudayfa, therefore we requested Masruq who asked him, what does the door stand for? He said, Umar. Hadith 96. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hour will not be established till you fight a nation wearing hairy shoes, and till you fight the Turks, who will have small eyes, red faces and flat noses, and their faces will be like flat shields. And you will find that the best people are those who hate responsibility of ruling most of all till they are chosen to be the rulers. And the people are of different natures, the best in the pre-Islamic period are the best in Islam. A time will come when any of you will love to see me rather than to have his family and property doubled. Hadith 97. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "The hour will not be established till you fight with the Qud and the Karman from among the non-Arabs. They will be of red faces, flat noses and small eyes, their faces will look like flat shields, and their shoes will be of hair." Hadith 98. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I enjoyed the company of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, for 3 years, and during the other years of my life, never was I so anxious to understand the Prophet's traditions as I was during those 3 years. I heard him saying, beckoning with his hand in this way, "Before the hour, you will fight with people who will have hairy shoes and live in al-Baraz." Sufyan, the sub-narrator once said, "And they are the people of al-Bazar." Hadith 99. Narrated Umar bin Tughlib, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "Near the hour you will fight with people who will wear hairy shoes, and you will also fight people with flat faces like shields." Hadith 100. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "The Jews will fight with you, and you will be given victory over them so that a stone will say, 'O Muslim, there is a Jew behind me, kill him.'" Hadith 101. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A time will come when the people will wage holy war, and it will be asked, 'Is there any amongst you who has enjoyed the company of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him?' They will say, 'Yes.' And then victory will be bestowed upon them. They will wage holy war again, and it will be asked, 'Is there any among you who has enjoyed the company of the companions of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him?' They will say, 'Yes.' And then victory will be bestowed on them." Hadith 102. Narrated Adi bin Hatim, while I was in the city of the Prophet, a man came and complained to him, the Prophet, of destitution and poverty. Then another man came and complained of robbery, by highwaymen. The Prophet said, "Adi, have you been to Al-Hira?" I said, "I haven't been to it, but I was informed about it." He said, "If you should live for a long time, you will certainly see that a lady in a howdah traveling from Al-Hira will safely reach Makkah and perform the tawaf of the Kaaba, fearing none but Allah." I said to myself, "What will happen to the robbers of the tribe of Ta'i who have spread evil throughout the country?" The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, further said, "If you should live long, the treasures of Khosra will be opened, and taken as spoils." I asked, "You mean Khosra, son of Hormuz?" He said, "Khosra, son of Hormuz. And if you should live long, you will see that one will carry a handful of gold or silver and go out looking for a person to accept it from him, but will find none to accept it from him. And any of you, when meeting Allah, will meet him without needing an interpreter between him and Allah to interpret for him, and Allah will say to him, 'Didn't I send a messenger to teach you?' He will say, 'Yes.' Allah will say, 'Didn't I give you wealth and do you favors?' He will say, 'Yes.' Then he will look to his right and see nothing but hell, and look to his left and see nothing but hell." Adi further said, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "Save yourself from the hell fire even with half a date, to be given in charity, and if you do not find a half date, then with a good pleasant word." Adi added, "Later on, I saw a lady in a howdah traveling from Al-Hira till she performed the tawaf of the Kaaba, fearing none but Allah. And I was one of those who opened, conquered, the treasures of Khosra, son of Hormuz." If you should live long, you will see what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, Abul Qasim had said, "A person will come out with a handful of gold," etc. Hadith 103. Narrated Adi, as above. Hadith 104. Narrated Uqbah bin Amr, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, once came out and offered the funeral prayer for the martyrs of Uhud, and proceeded to the pulpit and said, "I shall be your predecessor and a witness on you, and I am really looking at my sacred fount now, and no doubt, I have been given the keys of the treasures of the world. By Allah, I am not afraid that you will worship others along with Allah, but I am afraid that you will envy and fight one another for worldly fortunes. Hadith 105. Narrated Usama, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, stood on one of the high buildings of Medina, and said, Do you see what I see? I see affliction pouring among your houses like raindrops. Hadith 106. Narrated Zainab bint Jahash, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, came to her in a state of fear saying, None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. Woe to the Arabs because of evil that has come near. Today a hole has been made in the wall of Gog and Magog as large as this, pointing with two of his fingers making a circle. Zainab said, I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Shall we be destroyed though amongst us there are pious people? He said, Yes, if evil increases. Hadith 107. Salamah said, The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, woke up and said, Glorified be Allah, what great, how many, treasures have been sent down, and what great, how many, afflictions have been sent down. Hadith 108. Narrated Sa'sa, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said to me, I notice that you like sheep and you keep them, so take care of them and their food, for I have heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, A time will come upon the people when the best of a Muslim's property will be sheep, which he will take to the tops of mountains and to the places of rainfalls to run away with his religion in order to save it from afflictions. Hadith 109. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, There will be afflictions, and at the time, the sitting person will be better than the standing one, and the standing one will be better than the walking, and the walking will be better than the running. And whoever will look towards those afflictions, they will overtake him, and whoever will find a refuge or a shelter, should take refuge in it. The same narration is reported by Abu Bakr, with the addition, The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Among the prayers there is a prayer the missing of which will be to one like losing one's family and property. Hadith 110. Narrated Ibn Mas'ud, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Soon others will be preferred to you, and there will be things which you will not like. The companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. What do you order us to do, in this case? He said, I order you, to give the rights that are on you and to ask your rights from Allah. Hadith 111. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, This branch from Quraish will ruin the people. The companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked, What do you order us to do, then? He said, I would suggest that the people keep away from them. Hadith 112. Narrated Sa'id al-Umawi, I was with Marwan and Abu Hurairah, and heard Abu Hurairah saying, I heard the trustworthy, truly inspired one, that is, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, The destruction of my followers will be brought about by the hands of some youngsters from Quraish. Marwan asked, Youngsters? Abu Hurairah said, If you wish I would name them, they are the children of so-and-so and the children of so-and-so. Hadith 113. Narrated Hudayfah bin al-Yaman, the people used to ask Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, about good, but I used to ask him about evil for fear that it might overtake me. Once I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. We were in ignorance and in evil and Allah has bestowed upon us the present good, will there be any evil after this good? He said, Yes. I asked, Will there be good after that evil? He said, Yes, but it would be tainted with dukhan, that is, little evil. I asked, What will its dukhan be? He said, There will be some people who will lead people, according to principles other than my tradition. You will see their actions and disapprove of them. I said, Will there be any evil after that good? He said, Yes, there will be some people who will invite others to the doors of hell, and whoever accepts their invitation to it will be thrown in it by them. I said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Describe those people to us. He said, they will belong to us and speak our language. I asked, what do you order me to do if such a thing should take place in my life? He said, adhere to the group of Muslims and their chief. I asked, if there is neither a group of Muslims nor a chief, what shall I do? He said, keep away from all those different sects, even if you had to bite, that is, eat, the root of a tree, till you meet Allah while you are still in that state. Hadith 114. Narrated Hudayfa, my companions learned something about good through asking the Prophet, while I learned something about evil. Hadith 115. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the day of judgment will not be established till there is a war between two groups whose claims, or religion, will be the same. Hadith 116. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, the hour will not be established till there is a war between two groups among whom there will be a great number of casualties, though the claims, or religion, of both of them will be one and the same. And the hour will not be established till there appear about 30 liars, all of whom will be claiming to be the messengers of Allah. Hadith 117. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, while we were with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, who was distributing, that is, some property, there came Dhul Khuwaisirah, a man from the tribe of Bani Tamim and said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Do justice. The Prophet said, woe to you! Who could do justice if I did not? I would be a desperate loser if I did not do justice. Umar said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. Allow me to chop his head off. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, leave him, for he has companions who pray and fast in such a way that you will consider your fasting negligible in comparison to theirs. They recite Quran but it does not go beyond their throats, that is, they do not act on it, and they will desert Islam as an arrow goes through a victim's body, so that the hunter, on looking at the arrow's blade, would see nothing on it, he would look at its risaf and see nothing, he would look at its nutty and see nothing, and he would look at its kudud and see nothing, neither meat nor blood, for the arrow has been too fast even for the blood and excretions to smear. The sign by which they will be recognized is that among them there will be a black man, one of whose arms will resemble a woman's breast or a lump of meat moving loosely. Those people will appear when there will be differences amongst the people. I testify that I heard this narration from Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and I testify that Ali bin Abi Talib fought with such people, and I was in his company. He ordered that the man, described by the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, should be looked for. The man was brought and I looked at him and noticed that he looked exactly as the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had described him. Hadith 118. Narrated Ali, I relate the traditions of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to you for I would rather fall from the sky than attribute something to him falsely. But when I tell you a thing which is between you and me, then no doubt, war is guile. I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, in the last days of this world there will appear some young foolish people who will use, in their claim, the best speech of all people, that is, the Quran, and they will abandon Islam as an arrow going through the game. Their belief will not go beyond their throats, that is, they will have practically no belief, so wherever you meet them, kill them, for he who kills them shall get a reward on the day of resurrection. Hadith 119. Narrated Khabbab bin al-Arat, we complained to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, of the persecution inflicted on us by the infidels, while he was sitting in the shade of the Kaaba, leaning over his board, that is, covering sheet. We said to him, would you seek help for us? Would you pray to Allah for us? He said, among the nations before you believing, man would be put in a ditch that was dug for him, and a saw would be put over his head and he would be cut into 2 pieces, yet that torture would not make him give up his religion. His body would be combed with iron combs that would remove his flesh from the bones and nerves, yet that would not make him abandon his religion. By Allah, this religion, that is, Islam, will prevail till a traveler from Sana'a, in Yemen, to Hadramaut will fear none but Allah, or a wolf as regards his sheep, but you, people, are hasty. Hadith 120. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, noticed the absence of Thabit bin Qais. A man said, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I shall bring you his news. So he went to him and saw him sitting in his house drooping his head, sadly. He asked Thabit, what's the matter? Thabit replied, an evil situation. A man used to raise his voice over the voice of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and so all his good deeds have been annulled and he is from the people of hell. The man went back and told the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, that Thabit had said so and so. The sub-narrator, Musa bin Anas said, the man went to Thabit again with glad tidings. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to him, go and say to Thabit, you are not from the people of fire, but from the people of paradise. Hadith 121. Narrated Al-Bara bin Azib, a man recited Surah Al-Kahf in his prayer, and in the house there was a riding animal which got frightened and started jumping. The man finished his prayer with taslim, but behold, a mist or a cloud hovered over him. He informed the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, of that, and the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, O so-and-so. Recite, for this, mist or cloud, was a sign of peace descending for the recitation of Quran. Hadith 122. Narrated Al-Bara bin Azib, Abu Bakr came to my father who was at home and purchased a saddle from him. He said to Azib, tell your son to carry it with me. So I carried it with him and my father followed us so as to take the price of the saddle. My father said, O Abu Bakr, tell me what happened to you on your night journey with Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, during migration. He said, yes, we traveled the whole night and also the next day till midday, when nobody could be seen on the way, because of the severe heat. Then there appeared a long rock having shade beneath it, and the sunshine had not come to it yet. So we dismounted there and I leveled a place and covered it with an animal hide or dry grass for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to sleep on, for a while. I then said, sleep, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and I will guard you. So he slept and I went out to guard him. Suddenly I saw a shepherd coming with his sheep to that rock with the same intention we had when we came to it. I asked him, to whom do you belong, O boy? He replied, I belong to a man from Medina or Makkah. I said, do your sheep have milk? He said, yes. I said, will you milk for us? He said, yes. He caught hold of a sheep and I asked him to clean its teat from dust, hairs, and dirt. The sub-narrator said that he saw Al-Bara striking one of his hands with the other, demonstrating how the shepherd removed the dust. The shepherd milked a little milk in a wooden container and I had a leather container which I carried for the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to drink and perform the ablution from. I went to the Prophet, hating to wake him up, but when I reached there, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had already awakened, so I poured water over the middle part of the milk container, till the milk was cold. Then I said, drink, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He drank till I was pleased. Then he asked, has the time for our departure come? I said, yes. So we departed after midday. Suraqah bin Malik followed us and I said, we have been discovered, O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. He said, don't grieve for Allah is with us. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, invoked evil on him, that is, Suraqah, and so the legs of his horse sank into the earth up to its belly. The sub-narrator Zuhair is not sure whether Abu Bakr said, "It sank into solid earth." Suraka said, "I see that you have invoked evil on me. Please invoke good on me, and by Allah, I will cause those who are seeking after you to return." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, invoked good on him and he was saved. Then, whenever he met somebody on the way, he would say, "I have looked for him here in vain." So he caused whomever he met to return. Thus Suraka fulfilled his promise. Hadith 123. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, paid a visit to a sick Bedouin. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, when visiting a patient used to say, "No harm will befall you. May Allah cure you. May Allah cure you." So the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to the Bedouin, "No harm will befall you. May Allah cure you." The Bedouin said, "You say, may Allah cure me?" "No, for it is a fever which boils in the body of an old man, and will lead him to the grave." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Yes, then may it be as you say." Hadith 124. Narrated Anas, there was a Christian who embraced Islam and read Surah Al-Baqarah and Ali Imran, and he used to write the revelations for the Prophet. Later on, he returned to Christianity again and he used to say, "Muhammad knows nothing but what I have written for him." Then Allah caused him to die, and the people buried him, but in the morning they saw that the earth had thrown his body out. They said, "This is the act of Muhammad and his companions." They dug the grave of our companion and took his body out of it because he had run away from them. They again dug the grave deeply for him, but in the morning they again saw that the earth had thrown his body out. They said, "This is an act of Muhammad and his companions." They dug the grave of our companion and threw his body outside it, for he had run away from them. They dug the grave for him as deep as they could, but in the morning they again saw that the earth had thrown his body out. So they believed that what had befallen him was not done by human beings and had to leave him thrown on the ground. Hadith 125. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "When Khosrau perishes, there will be no more Khosrau after him, and when Caesar perishes, there will be no more Caesar after him. By him in whose hands Muhammad's life is, you will spend the treasures of both of them in Allah's cause." Hadith 126. Narrated Jabir bin Samurah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "When Khosrau perishes, there will be no more Khosrau after him, and when Caesar perishes, there will be no more Caesar after him." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, also said, "You will spend the treasures of both of them in Allah's cause." Hadith 127. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Muzaina al-Kadhab, that is, the liar, came in the lifetime of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, with many of his people, to Medina, and said, "If Muhammad makes me his successor, I will follow him." Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went up to him with Thabit bin Qais bin Shams, and Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, was carrying a piece of a date palm leaf in his hand. He stood before Muzaina and his companions, and said, "If you asked me even this piece of a leaf, I would not give it to you. You cannot avoid the fate you are destined to, by Allah. If you reject Islam, Allah will destroy you. I think that you are most probably the same person whom I have seen in the dream." Abu Hurairah told me that Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "While I was sleeping, I saw, in a dream, 2 gold bracelets round my arm, and that worried me too much. Then I was instructed divinely in my dream to blow them off, and so I blew them off, and they flew away. I interpreted the 2 bracelets as symbols of 2 liars who would appear after me. And so one of them was Al-Ansi and the other was Muzaina al-Kadhab from Al-Yamamah." Hadith 128. Narrated Abu Musa, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, in a dream I saw myself migrating from Mecca to a place having plenty of date trees. I thought that it was Yamama or Hajar, but it came to be Medina, that is, Yathrib. In the same dream I saw myself moving a sword and its blade got broken. It came to symbolize the defeat which the Muslims suffered from on the day of Uhud. I moved the sword again, and it became normal as before, and that was the symbol of the victory Allah bestowed upon Muslims and their gathering together. I saw cows in my dream, and by Allah, that was a blessing, and they symbolized the believers on the day of Uhud. And the blessing was the good Allah bestowed upon us and the reward of true belief which Allah gave us after the day of Badr. Hadith 129. Narrated Aisha, once Fatima came walking and her gait resembled the gait of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Welcome, O my daughter." Then he made her sit on his right or on his left side, and then he told her a secret and she started weeping. I asked her, "Why are you weeping?" He again told her a secret and she started laughing. I said, "I never saw happiness so near to sadness as I saw today." I asked her what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had told her. She said, "I would never disclose the secret of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him." When the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, died, I asked her about it. She replied, "The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, every year Gabriel used to revise the Quran with me once only, but this year he has done so twice. I think this portends my death, and you will be the first of my family to follow me." So I started weeping. Then he said, "Don't you like to be the chief of all the ladies of paradise or the chief of the believing women?" So I laughed for that. Hadith 130. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in his fatal illness, called his daughter Fatima and told her a secret because of which she started weeping. Then he called her and told her another secret, and she started laughing. When I asked her about that, she replied, "The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, told me that he would die in his fatal illness, and so I wept, but then he secretly told me that from amongst his family, I would be the first to join him, and so I laughed." Hadith 131. Narrated Sa'id bin Jubayr about Ibn Abbas, Umar bin al-Khattab used to treat Ibn Abbas very favorably. Abdur Rahman bin Auf said to him, "We also have sons that are equal to him, but you are partial to him." Umar said, "It is because of his knowledge." Then Umar asked Ibn Abbas about the interpretation of the verse, "When come the help of Allah and the conquest of Makkah," Surah 110, Ayah 1. Ibn Abbas said, "It portended the death of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, which Allah had informed him of." Umar said, "I do not know from this verse but what you know." Hadith 132. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, in his fatal illness came out, wrapped with a sheet, and his head was wrapped with an oiled bandage. He sat on the pulpit, and praising and glorifying Allah, he said, "Now then, people will increase but the Ansar will decrease in number, so much so that they, compared with the people, will be just like the salt in the meals. So, if any of you should take over the authority by which he can either benefit some people or harm some others, he should accept the goodness of their good people, that is, Ansar, and excuse the faults of their wrongdoers." That was the last gathering which the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, attended. Hadith 133. Narrated Abu Bakr, once the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, brought out Al-Hasan and took him up the pulpit along with him and said, "This son of mine is a Sayyid, that is, chief, and I hope that Allah will help him bring about reconciliation between two Muslim groups." Hadith 134. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, had informed us of the death of Ja'far and Zayd before the news of their death reached us, and his eyes were shedding tears. Hadith 135. Narrated Jabir, once, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Have you got carpets?" I replied, "Whence can we get carpets?" He said, "But you shall soon have carpets." I used to say to my wife, "Remove your carpets from my sight," but she would say, "Didn't the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, tell you that you would soon have carpets?" So I would give up my request. Hadith 136. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, Sa'd bin Mu'adh came to Makkah with the intention of performing Umrah, and stayed at the house of Umayyah bin Khalaf Abi Safwan, for Umayyah himself used to stay at Sa'd's house when he passed by Medina on his way to Sham. Umayyah said to Sa'd, "Will you wait till midday when the people are at their homes, then you may go and perform the tawaf round the Kaaba?" So, while Sa'd was going around the Kaaba, Abu Jahl came and asked, "Who is that who is performing tawaf?" Sa'd replied, "I am Sa'd." Abu Jahl said, "Are you circumambulating the Kaaba safely although you have given refuge to Muhammad and his companions?" Sa'd said, "Yes," and they started quarreling. Umayyah said to Sa'd, "Don't shout at Abul Hakam, that is, Abu Jahl, for he is chief of the valley of Makkah." Sa'd then said to Abu Jahl, "By Allah, if you prevent me from performing the tawaf of the Kaaba, I will spoil your trade with Sham." Umayyah kept on saying to Sa'd, "Don't raise your voice," and kept on taking hold of him. Sa'd became furious and said to Umayyah, "Be away from me, for I have heard Muhammad saying that he will kill you." Umayyah said, "Will he kill me?" Sa'd said, "Yes." Umayyah said, "By Allah, when Muhammad says a thing, he never tells a lie." Umayyah went to his wife and said to her, "Do you know what my brother from Yathrib, that is, Medina, has said to me?" She said, "What has he said?" He said, "He claims that he has heard Muhammad claiming that he will kill me." She said, "By Allah, Muhammad never tells a lie." So when the infidels started to proceed for battle, and declared war against the Muslims, his wife said to him, "Don't you remember what your brother from Yathrib told you?" Umayyah decided not to go, but Abu Jahl said to him, "You are from the nobles of the valley of Makkah, so you should accompany us for a day or two." He went with them and thus Allah got him killed. Hadith 137. Narrated Abu Uthman, I got the news that Gabriel came to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, while Salamah was present. Gabriel started talking to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and then left. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said to Salamah, "Do you know who it was?" Or a similar question. She said, "It was Dihya, a handsome person amongst the companions of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him." Later on Salamah said, "By Allah, I thought he was none but Dihya, till I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, talking about Gabriel in his sermon." The sub-narrator asked Abu Uthman, "From where have you heard this narration?" He replied, "From Usama bin Zayd." Hadith 138. Narrated Abdullāh, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "I saw, in a dream, the people assembled in a gathering, and then Abu Bakr got up and drew 1 or 2 buckets of water from a well, but there was weakness in his drawing. May Allah forgive him. Then Umar took the bucket and in his hands it turned into a very large bucket. I had never seen anyone amongst the people who could draw the water as strongly as Umar till all the people drank their fill and watered their camels that knelt down there." Hadith 139. Narrated Abdullāh bin Umar, the Jews came to Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and told him that a man and a woman from amongst them had committed illegal sexual intercourse. Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said to them, "What do you find in the Torah, Old Testament, about the legal punishment of our rajm, stoning?" They replied, "But, we announce their crime and lash them." Abdullāh bin Salam said, "You are telling a lie, Torah contains the order of rajm." They brought and opened the Torah, and one of them placed his hand on the verse of Rajm and read the verses preceding and following it. Abdullāh bin Salam said to him, "Lift your hand." When he lifted his hand, the verse of Rajm was written there. They said, "Muhammad has told the truth, the Torah has the verse of Rajm." The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, then gave the order that both of them should be stoned to death. Abdullāh bin Umar said, "I saw the man leaning over the woman to shelter her from the stones." Hadīth 140. Narrated Abdullāh bin Mas'ud, during the lifetime of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, the moon was split into two parts, and on that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Bear witness to this." Hadīth 141. Narrated Anas, that the Meccan people requested Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, to show them a miracle, and so he showed them the splitting of the moon. Hadīth 142. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the moon was split into two parts during the lifetime of the Prophet. Hadīth 143. Narrated Anas, once two men from the companions of Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, went out of the house of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on a very dark night. They were accompanied by two things that resembled two lamps lighting the way in front of them, and when they parted, each of them was accompanied by one of those two things, lamps, till they reached their homes. Hadīth 144. Narrated Al-Mughīrah bin Shu'bah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Some of my followers will remain victorious, and on the right path, till the last day comes, and they will still be victorious." Hadīth 145. Narrated Muawiyah, I heard the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "A group of people amongst my followers will remain obedient to Allah's orders, and they will not be harmed by anyone who will not help them or who will oppose them, till Allah's order, the last day, comes upon them while they are still on the right path." Hadīth 146. Narrated Urwa, that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave him 1 dinar so as to buy a sheep for him. Urwa bought 2 sheep for him with the money. Then he sold one of the sheep for 1 dinar, and brought 1 dinar and a sheep to the Prophet. On that, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, invoked Allah to bless him in his deals. So Urwa used to gain, from any deal, even if he bought dust. In another narration, Urwa said, I heard Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, saying, "There is always goodness in horses till the day of resurrection." The sub-narrator added, I saw 70 horses in Urwa's house. Sufyan said, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, asked Urwa to buy a sheep for him as a sacrifice. Hadīth 147. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is always goodness in horses till the day of resurrection." Hadīth 148. Narrated Anas, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "There is always goodness in horses." Hadīth 149. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "A horse may be kept for one of 3 purposes. For a man it may be a source of reward, for another it may be a means of living, and for a third it may be a burden, a source of committing sins. As for the one for whom it is a source of reward, he is the one who keeps his horse for the sake of jihad in Allah's cause, he ties it with a long rope on a pasture or in a garden. So whatever its rope allows it to eat, will be regarded as good rewardable deeds, for its owner. And if it breaks off its rope and jumps over 1 or 2 hillocks, even its dung will be considered amongst his good deeds. And if it passes by a river and drinks water from it, that will be considered as good deeds for his benefit, even if he has had no intention of watering it. A horse is a shelter for the one who keeps it so that he may earn his living honestly and takes it as a refuge to keep him from following illegal ways of gaining money, and does not forget the rights of Allah, that is, paying the zakat and allowing others to use it for Allah's sake. But a horse is a burden and a source of committing sins, for him who keeps it out of pride and pretense and with the intention of harming the Muslims. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was asked about donkeys. He replied, "Nothing has been revealed to me concerning them except this comprehensive verse, which covers everything. Then whosoever has done good equal to the weight of an atom, or a small ant, shall see it, its reward. And whosoever has done evil equal to the weight of an atom, or a small ant, shall see it, its punishment." Surah 99, Ayat 7-8. Hadith 150. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, reached Khaybar in the early morning, and the people of Khaybar came out with their spades, and when they saw the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, they said, "Muhammad and his army," and returned hurriedly to take refuge in the fort. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, raised his hands and said, "Allah is greater. Khaybar is ruined. If we approach a nation, then miserable is the mourning of those who are warned." Hadith 151. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I said, "O Allah's Messenger, peace and blessings be upon him. I hear many narrations from you but I forget them." He said, "Spread your covering sheet." I spread my sheet and he moved both his hands as if scooping something and emptied them in the sheet and said, "Wrap it." I wrapped it round my body, and since then I have never forgotten.